Hello and welcome to another episode of the News You Missed. I'd just like to thank everyone for subscribing here. I've already got over 2.5 thousand subscribers that moved from Pro to Mario to this dedicated news channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click subscribe. Stay up to date with the weekly News You Missed. I do small mini episodes and weekly recaps all the time on this dedicated news channel. With that out of the way, I really appreciate you guys just being here and watching this, and let's get you caught up. So, the first thing I want to discuss is some Pokemon news. We have a message from the Game Freak developers. They sent out a nice message during Gamescom 2019. It just basically is a video showing the very first portions of Pokemon Sword and Shield. As the game release gets closer and closer, a lot of people are speculating. There's still war raging on whether or not the game actually looks nice. Comparatively speaking to the 3DS titles, it's definitely a upgrade. There's no questioning that. But people are still arguing about bring back National Dex, which is really overshadowing the game itself. So if you want to see some beginning portions and actually take a look for yourself, you can go ahead and do that with that video. It's just them showing off the beginning portions of the game once again. There was a wider trailer shown, but this has been out for a little while now. It was published August 16th, so a lot of people have already seen it. It just basically shows a lot of new things coming, some Galar exclusive Pokemon, some new abilities, things like that, some double battles, Dynamaxing, just stuff that we've already seen with the exception of the Galar variants. If you want to check that out, make sure to check the link in the description below for both videos to get caught up on your Pokemon news. Other than that, we're going to move on to some Pokemon Go. A Thousand-Year Slumber Jirachi quest guide. You guys want Jirachi in Pokemon Go? I don't know if you do or don't. This person who's showing the picture only has one at 1365, which is a pretty low power level, comparatively speaking, but if you're trying to catch them all, well then, of course you're going to want to capture this one. There's about 7 steps to complete, so yeah, if you're a really big Pokemon Go player, I mean, I don't really play as much anymore because I work a lot of hours, but I used to play a lot. This would have been really nice to get. You might want to check into this guide, and it'll help you get Jirachi for Pokemon Go. Again, check the link in the description below. Now we're going to move on to some PC gaming news. Check this out. We have 2 of Steam's top games last month were anime sex games. You heard it right. Wow. A lot of deviants out there, a lot of fiends. Now you might be saying to yourself, why would anybody pay money to play anime sex games when you can not only get hentai for free online, but you can also get porn for free because Pornhub is free. I mean, there's so many websites that you can go to that it just gives you free pornography of any kind. Right, it's very difficult to understand that video games give you an interaction element and you're not just looking and viewing and reading and things like that, which is understandable. But I do also think it has a lot to do with a lot of kids being able to get on Steam, get these games, and not be detected by their parents. I mean, there's not really verification for your age on Steam. You just basically say how old you are and there you go. Okay, I'm 18, yeah. I really hope you are. You know, there's no real consequences, nothing really comes of it, so I think a lot of young kids go and buy these games and play them on Steam, and it's kind of a bypass so that they don't get detected by their parents. Do you feel the same way? Please let me know in the comments down below. You can check into the games. There's not really anything special about them, and I'm not really going to go into it. It's just pretty crazy that 2 of the top selling games were anime sex games on Steam. So hey, Super Mario Maker 2 is really, really cool in the fact that some people are doing some really amazing things with it. One of those things is a vertical level. Mario 1-1 is extremely difficult when you put it vertically. But somebody did complete it, showed it off, and here you are. If you'd like to check into that, once again, the link is in the description below. Pretty cool. I saw the person run through it, and I'm amazed, to say the least. I would say that you'd probably be able to master it after an hour of practice, or maybe even less. It's not insanely difficult, but it is much more challenging than when you just play it as a side-scroller. Check into it, you'll be impressed. Mortal Kombat 11 reveals new fighters. So there's a whole slew of cool new fighters coming, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it if you do enjoy Mortal Kombat. The T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger version arrives October 8th. Outworld Queen Sindel screams into action November 26th. There's also a Joker coming January 28th. We have the anti-hero Spawn. He's coming out March 17th, which is pretty cool. I think Spawn was pretty cool in Soul Calibur. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. So hey, after a transphobic comment, several comments, they spark controversy. Ion Fury developers have to apologize for the employees' remarks. Check this out. Ion Fury is a kind of Doom and Duke Nukem-esque styled game that looks like it could have come out in the DOS days of the 90s, but it was recently released on Steam. It's quite an expensive game, but it looks beautiful, looks gorgeous, plays just like it, and it's a great game. Now, here's the thing. What ended up happening is that there's tons of little things here and there, off-color jokes, as they put it. Like, if you look at a lotion bottle, it'll say "okay," which is likely wordplay for "Olay." And there's developer messages and out-of-bounds areas that are homosexual slurs, things like that. You can take it for what it's worth. This is a game that is a first-person shooter that blows up, annihilates enemies, and is pretty ridiculous, excessive, and over the edge. I don't particularly know if these comments should warrant an apology from any particular developer. Should they have been removed? Probably. You shouldn't have kept them in the game. Should you have been more careful about what you put in the game? Probably. At the end of the day, it is once again art, and art needs to be respected. Apparently, they apologized and recognized that these statements were insensitive and unacceptable and counterproductive to the causes of equality. Now, I'm 100% for equality, but in video games, once again, they are art, and art needs to be defended. So if somebody's feeling of art is to make some ridiculous off-color joke, it's really getting into the argument of freedom of speech. Are you infringing on that person's right and their freedoms to express themselves artistically, or are they infringing on your rights and freedoms to feel not encroached on because of your sexuality? This is a big subject for debate, and I would love to hear your comments down in the sections below, so make sure to talk about it. So, continuing in the trend of really dumb, crappy news here, we have developers having to ask fans not to harass them over the Epic Store. No, Kotaku, you are 100% wrong. If developers did not give them their presence on social media, they wouldn't be harassable. Do you understand how that works? Check this. This is crazy, okay? Check this out. No one demanded that these companies get Twitters and other various social medias. No one demanded these developers get YouTube. These developers and these companies did this so that they could put their products out and market them better. None of these companies are our friends. Get that straight, Kotaku, because you always write these stupid articles. People have a right to not be harassed. Absolutely. So as a developer of a game, you should probably not cite yourself as a developer in your Twitter bio. You should definitely take a stance as an official company social media, and you should never take anything that's said to you personally, because it is for the company and not the individual. So when you, as a company, go out on a limb and explain why you need to align yourself with a company that exclusively bars people from playing your games, like the Epic Store, you're going to get a massive pushback from the PC clientele. You're barring your game, you're exclusively putting it on a PC platform that not everybody can access unless they get the Epic Store launcher. It is bad. Exclusivity means to exclude. It is a very negative connotation. Don't do it. And then when you do it, you're shocked and surprised. Oh, why are we getting harassed? Well, people shouldn't be harassing us so much. Oddworld Incorporated. INC, at the end of that handle, Inc. Incorporated. This is not an individual. This is not a person. You are not directing this at a person. This is incorporated. You get this, Kotaku? I know it's very difficult for you to understand, because you want to take up arms for any video gamers who are being harassed. All those gamers in their basement, they're all just fat, neckbeard, fedora wearing a-holes who just sit on they're keyboard warriors, I tell you what. No, they're people who are tired of anti-consumer bullshit, and now we have console exclusivity leaking over to PCs because the Epic Store wants to compete excessively with Steam and try to prevent people from putting their games on the Steam Store. We're gonna move on, and Borderlands 3 and Elder Scrolls Online join a dozen games coming to Stadia, which is great. See that? That's crazy. Like, Google Stadia didn't give a shitload of money to developers to say, I want you to exclusively develop for the Google Stadia only. So y'all, like all these games, they're available on other things, which is funny because Borderlands 3 is exclusively available on Epic for PC for quite some time. It's really ironic because if you got Google Stadia, you could just play it on there. Or if you had an Xbox, you could just play it on there instead of going to the Epic Store and being forced to download the Epic Store launcher and use the Epic Store with all of its terrible practices. There's that. If you're interested in getting Google Stadia and you want an all digital type of game library, you can invest in that. Apex Legends loot box controversy devolves into flame war. Hey, would you look at that? More people very upset at this anti-consumer stuff. You remember, like, it was like 4 minutes ago I was talking about how, like, you should not attach yourself to a social media because, you know, you're gonna get flamed by people when your company does some dumb stuff and it comes back on you. Yeah, I just said that, and here we are once again. And now you have people apologizing, talking about how, oh, we didn't mean to do this, we didn't mean to do that. I really don't want to get into the meat of this story. I just want to talk about how basically there were developers talking really, really negatively to people on subreddits. They were talking and saying that they were asshats of the fan base and freeloaders. Not really a wise move to insult your fan base. So again, don't be under any illusion about any of these stories I talk about where these companies are not your friend. They're not. I should not have to spend $200 on loot boxes to obtain something from your game. We're going to move on to something a little bit different. Death Stranding's baby has been explained, which is very, very strange. Apparently that baby that was shown in the trailer, that's been shown in pretty much every trailer we've seen, it was born of this woman who died while the child was being born, which means it is connected to the other world of the dead, which explains how Sam is able to see other creatures on the other side. Death Stranding arrives November 8th on PlayStation 4. You guys probably really enjoy that game if you like Hideo Kojima's work with Metal Gear Solid and his other games. Turns out, the part of Destiny's new trailer leaked 2.5 years ago. Hey, so you guys remember how I'm always like, hey, the bunch of developers are like hiding stuff and locking stuff away and that they already have this content developed, and when they release a game, they cut the content and sell it as DLC expansions? You guys remember how I said that? Well, check this out. I actually have more evidence to this. So if you look at this video, it says Destiny leaked Vex cinematic. Watch before Activision takes it down. You can actually see on almost 1-to-1. They definitely cleaned it up for Shadowkeep and the Season of the Undying, but during the world premiere, you can see a 1-to-1 representation of almost every single thing here. The Destiny Shadowkeep is a little bit faster and it cuts a few small points, but you could just tell, you can see that it is like a perfect representation where they took probably 90% of it and just recycled it back into what we're going to be getting as DLC. As much as I love Destiny 2, there's no questioning that this was recycled content and it was cut from earlier content. For what reason, I'm not sure, but once again, companies proving themselves to be grimy as ever. Remember, companies are not your friends. They oftentimes are anti-consumer and just looking to make as much money as possible off of you. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are bad at what they do. It doesn't necessarily mean they make bad games. It just means that they are looking at the wider picture to make money. Gamestop lays off over 100 people, including nearly half of Game Informer staff. Generally speaking, I like Game Informer a lot more than Polygon or Kotaku, but considering this is a Kotaku article, I didn't really think Game Informer was going to be talking about how they laid off over 100 people. So yeah, it's not really a shock here. Long story short, this has been happening for a while. GameStop's in trouble, man. They're not doing good, and the writing's on the wall. Walmart sells games, Best Buy sells games, Target sells games. All these other places sell games. There's tons of places to sell games. eBay sells games. Amazon sells games. You can go on game websites like GameFly and get used games really cheap. There's secondhand shops, mom and pop shops. So while GameStop is predominantly the staple carbon copy and paste type of store for that, it's not like it couldn't go away and there wouldn't be any way to obtain video games ever again. Anyways, that'll do it for this episode of the News You Missed. It was a lengthy episode. I didn't mean to take it out this long. Maybe I'll cut it down. Maybe I'll shave it a bit down and it won't be so lengthy. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and share it. Make sure to click subscribe if you haven't already. You can click that bell if you want to be alerted every time one of these go out, but you can always go ahead and check back here every week or twice a week, because there's usually 1-2 videos that I put up every week. You can become a patron and join Proto Mario's Patreon, where I will be posting many of these videos a day early, and you can sponsor me more directly there with just $1. It'll help me out greatly, and you get to see this content much sooner. I've been your host, Proto Mario, also known as the Grandmaster Gamer. As this transition completes itself, I will be referring to myself as the Grandmaster Gamer. I will see you back here next time for another episode of the News You Missed. As always, good gaming, God bless, and I will see you in the next one.